By now, everyone should be well aware that your interactions with law enforcement all depend on a coin flip. It could go good and it could go really bad. And when I say that, people's immediate response would be something along the lines of, well, if you don't make any sudden moves, or if you just sit still, or if you comply, you will be perfectly fine. And I have made that statement in the past. But when you see videos of people complying and they still get punched in their mouth, you tend to understand that people got picks and chooses. And you really got to depend on the cop you're dealing with in that scenario. Because if you're dealing with somebody whose wife then cheated on them a couple times and they caught him each time and they sat there like a good little boy, you're going to be dealing with somebody who's going to want to let loose some anger. But we're not talking about any of that. We're talking about what you should and shouldn't do in a moment of cops investigating and maybe questioning you. And I think, with my expertise of being a criminal mastermind in Grand Theft Auto, I think the best course of action when cops are asking you questions is to not run for the hills. Even if you don't match the description, you probably shouldn't just make a break for it. Why? Because it's going to make you look guilty and they're going to chase you. And when they chase you, they're going to put you in handcuffs. And as somebody who's been in handcuffs by force and by choice, I think it's a great idea to not make those sudden movements even in that moment. And that is what happened to this individual who fit the description of a bunch of people in the area getting into some mischief, and the cops came and questioned him and he ran for the hills. And then he decided to make a sudden movement that involved some type of object in his hand, and he's been dead ever since.
While I am gone.
It was a peaceful protest in Utica as hundreds of people came together for one purpose: justice. Many community members believe the shooting and killing of Nyam Way was not justified after he fled from Utica police officers and had what appeared to be a handgun, but we now know was a pellet gun.
Just thinking about it just makes me mad. They could have tased him or something else instead of shooting him and taking his life.
There was no imminent danger to shoot the kid. Cops are trained to distinguish an adult from a kid, a sane person from an insane person, one with mental health from not mental health. This is their training.
And when it comes to getting justice, many people have said it's accountability.
Getting proper training for the officers, for, treating people like human people and not just because of their income or their nationalities or anything like that. Justice for me is just holding these officers accountable and making sure that we get officers in the community that are non-biased and is going to police the community the way that the community should be policed.
No justice, no peace. No righteous, no peace.
If we have to stomp our feet every single day, and if we got to block traffic and we got to cut off traffic and we got to scream at the top of our lungs, we're going to be out here every single day doing it.
And of course, there were protests, and of course, there were people demanding justice, and of course, there were people saying that the individuals involved in this should all be fired and put in jail. But as of very recently, no one involved in that interaction will be going to jail.
This morning, Attorney General Letitia James says no charges will be filed against an officer in Utica who shot and killed a 13-year-old boy last year. The Attorney General releasing a 17-page report on that officer-involved shooting. June 28th of 2024, 13-year-old Nia Way was shot and killed after he had fled from officers who were questioning him. They say they had stopped him because he had matched a description from an armed robbery. And during the foot chase, Way pulled out what turned out to be a BB gun. He was tackled by an officer who fired a single shot. In her report, Attorney General James says prosecutors would not have been able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the officer's actions were unjustified.
I understand wanting to protest because it's your son, it's your brother, it's your friend, it's your nephew, and you feel as though a life was taken unjustly. But here's the thing, and it's been said numerous times, you can't have a weapon on you and start making sudden movements. Yes, it was a BB gun. Yes, it wasn't a real gun. But I pose this question to you simply. How are the cops supposed to know that? Dude booked it, didn't really sit there and just answer the questions. Maybe he was the one that the cops were looking for. Maybe he wasn't. Let's go with the assumption that he wasn't. And he just booked it. So now they're going to think in their minds, all right, this is who we're looking for. We're going to chase him. And as they're doing it, he's turning around with something in his hand that makes these cops say, all right, one of us about to get shot. So they say, hold on, let me give you something that's going to get you shot. And it's a gun with a couple bullets in it. It's this game that people are playing with their own lives that I don't like to see, because I don't want to see the kid dead. I'm not cheering that he is dead. I'm saying, for the love of fuck, I understand why this officer is not getting fired, not getting any prison time, because when you look at it with the eyes that is not an action movie, and you realize that you can't do a quick time event and slow everything down with some nice choir music, you realize that these cops are operating in a means to protect themselves and anybody else who could happen to be in the area. It is unfortunate that the kid's no longer on this earth, but given the circumstances and the subject matter, that was going to be the expected outcome when you run from the cops and then turn around motioning like you about to start doing something you probably shouldn't be doing. But let me know, what do you think in the comments down below? Do you think it's justified? Do you think it's not justified? Do you think there should have been a taser in this scenario? I think that option only applies when people are resisting and not booking it for the heels and making sudden movements as if they're about to start shooting. But hey, I'm welcome to disagreements in the comments down below. I will see you all in the next one. Mwah. Goodbye.